Take a look at this right over here. This is something that's great. There was once upon a time in which I was semi-supportive of RFK. All right, so I was supportive. At one point, I thought he could be the peace candidate. At one point, his talks of the COVID protocol, I thought were so important, more important than anything, that I was willing to support him. Also, his talks when it comes to geoengineering, our food, that whole thing. RFK had a history of going after these big corporations and understanding the money flow from the three-letter agencies into the pockets of the lawmakers that affect us. However, obviously, his positions on Israel-Palestine have been a really big cancellation for a lot of us. A lot of us in the anti-imperialist left that were supportive of him are no longer supporting him. However, we're paying a close attention. I still wonder when it comes to this situation with RFK, is it worth him still running and supporting him in some ways? Well, you don't have to support him, but if there were to be a debate and he were able to get on that debate stage with a Joe Biden, a Donald Trump, I think that would be fascinating. There's still a lot of areas in which he makes a lot of sense. Once again, his position on Israel-Palestine, I think for a lot of people automatically cancel him. So therefore, you have to make that decision. But at one point when he was making the decision to run as an independent, a lot of us were hoping that he would run as a libertarian. Take a listen to this and see what he's talking about. Whoa, I can't play this, right? You have to play this, Jamie. Grab this. We don't have that sound worked out. So grab this really quickly and play this video because it won't play on my end. So give us 2 seconds. In fact, here's what I'll do. So before we play this, as Jamie's getting it together, this is Dave Smith. I just spoke to Dave the other day, through via text. I was hoping that he can come on the show today and talk with Anya Parampel. I wanted to get a good libertarian perspective on the border. But David says this: I have admired many aspects of RFK's campaign. His opposition to COVID tyranny, which we talked about, vax mandates, which we talk about, that mandate word, the Ukrainian war, and the deep state have been nothing short of heroic. However, his support for the war in Gaza is disqualifying. We are the anti-war, non-interventionist party, and that's non-negotiable, period, says Dave Smith. He will not be our nominee, and I will do everything in my power to see that. My boy, Clint Russell over here, who I did speak to on the phone the other day, I told him we got to go for a nice steak together and have him on the show. He's going to be on the show Friday with Don DeBar, a Marxist and a libertarian together. Can't wait. This is the first I've heard, and I'm pretty... this is the first I heard of it. I'm going to look at my screen over here. This is the first I heard of it, and I'm pretty tied in with the party. If his entire goal is just to use the LP to get ballot access, then he can kick rocks. Aside from his COVID FBI takes, I see no way in which he's a libertarian. Jamie, did you get the video? Yeah, just pull it off Twitter. It's very easy. You can find it. You don't have to download the whole thing. Just go to Twitter and you'll get it. It's easy. Spike Cohen, who's been on my show before, he was on AM Wake Up in studio. I got to talk to him a couple years ago in person several times. I was a big Spike Cohen guy. I was very, very supportive of Spike Cohen, and there's still a lot of issues I can support Spike Cohen on as well. So he says RFK has been a welcome voice on many issues. He's also not a libertarian, and his take on Israel and Palestine has been as bad as it can get. If he seeks our nomination, I'll see to it that he loses. Here, I'll pull it up real quick, dude. So, guys, this is RFK talking about possibly running as a libertarian candidate.
Is it possible that you will seek, as you are running as an independent, you will seek still to be the libertarian candidate, which would assure you getting on all 50 state ballots?
That's something that we're looking at. We have a really good relationship with Libertarian Party. I'm going to be speaking at the California Libertarian Party convention. I think it's next week or maybe a couple of weeks. And then we're talking about me speaking in New York. But, so that is, and then we have our own political party now in 6 states, which have rules that make that give us an advantage to have our own political party. We're not going to have a problem. I ask you the question because Angela McCardle, the head of the Libertarian Party. Catherine, do we have the sound of this, by the way? Tell me quickly. Okay, I want to play something for the audience. This is the head of the Libertarian Party on my radio show in the fall. Roll it.
we've had a lot of good conversations and we're on good terms. And I respect his decision to want to go independent. The Libertarians really admire the strong position he took against mandates and lockdowns. And so we're going to stay on friendly terms and see what happens.
Bobby, make some news. I mean, it sounded to me like she's welcoming you to come in and ask for their ballot position.
Yeah, well, we are talking to the Libertarian Party, and I feel very comfortable with most of the values of the Libertarian Party. And, you know, we, like I say, we have good relationships. I'm talking regularly to libertarian groups. So we'll continue to do those talks. I can't give you a headline news story today, Michael. I'm sorry. Ask about something different.
Okay.
So there it is. That was RFK talking to Mike Sirkanovich, I believe his name is. I get it mixed up all the time. We told you what Dave Smith said. We told you what Clint Russell said, Spike Cohen said. They have immediately eliminated him from being any type of libertarian and being on the ticket. And they said they're going to go out and vow to make sure he's not on that ticket because of his stances on Israel and Palestine. And I think it was my partner, Fiorella Isabel from the Combo Couch, who said clearly that you can't be a peace candidate if you are going to be pro-Israel. Now, if you remember, it was me who actually went up to New Hampshire and put it on record and asked him his stance on Israel-Palestine, where he opened up a can of shitworms. The very next day, The Hill had on Max Blumenthal, a few other people, Sabby, Glenn Greenwald talked about it and had him on. It opened up a can of, whoa, what's going on with your stance of Israel-Palestine? At that point, I was still willing to somewhat support him because I thought him getting on the ticket, the Libertarian Party ticket, would really open up the party. And I'm desperate to see a third party on the ticket. And I also thought that if something were to happen, because we didn't know October 7th would happen and everything would go crazy in occupied Palestine or Israel, whatever you want to call it, in the Gaza Strip. And I thought we'd see RFK come out and say, listen, I stand with Israel and I think they have a right to exist. However, right now, we need a ceasefire and we have to stop the killing of innocent civilians and whatnot. He didn't do that. In fact, he promoted or condoned or even rubber stamped his approval on them going and bombing Gaza and killing so many innocent civilians. And to this day, he still hasn't called for a ceasefire. So a lot of us were just like done, not interested with him. You're going to support Israel that much, and then the rhetoric of turn it into it's a like an aircraft carrier out there. We need it to counteract China, Iran, and the Venezuelan regime. All this craziness out there. But this is interesting because Martha Bueno, I've had my issues with her at times, but I still respect her. I saw her at Freedom Fest. I think she's got a lot of great things to say. She's a very, very smart woman. Like I said, I don't agree with a lot of things, especially when it comes to foreign policy. I wish I could have got her on today with Anya. It would be great. But Anya seems to scare everybody from the right and the libertarians anyways when it comes to talking about foreign policy in Latin America. Way to go, Anya. But Martha Bueno says RFK is not a libertarian, but getting libertarian ideas into government, even if it's just 50%, beats the 0% we are getting right now. And that has been the problem. This was the time for the Libertarian Party. When Freedom Fest happened, I thought it was their coming out party. Their ideas were elevated. The jailing and the persecution of Julian Assange, the censorship that we were dealing with, the mandates, these are all libertarian values, not to mention Anya, who's going to be on the show in just a little bit with me and a couple other leftists like Jimmy Dore, Max Blumenthal. We're able to have a coalition of people like Scott Horton, Ron Paul, Daniel McAdams. The libertarian and the anti-imperialist left is coming together. And I'm so proud that they are standing tall and strong on it. But perfect is the enemy of the good, says Martha. And I'll take good over the current evils. Repeating 2020 isn't a solution. And Mr. Brett Weinstein, who was all about freedom of speech until the Israel-Gaza situation started up, partnering with RFK Jr. is a move that wins the game for the Libertarian Party, but it would be hard for many libertarians to accept it, having grown accustomed to the freedom that comes with the powerlessness. With Kennedy, they could displace the Democratic Party and save the West. Well, I don't know if they'll be able to displace the Democratic Party, but I'm wondering where Angela sits on this whole situation. Angela McArdle, who also put on that event, Rage Against the War Machine, the Libertarian chair, has to be thinking, is this a good enough move? Is this the right move to make? Should the Libertarian Party take on RFK? Despite his awful stances on Israel, Gaza, it would still elevate the party and make it the third party. Now, make no mistake about it, the Libertarian Party is in a better position than the Green Party. But do they turn a blind eye to their values, the non-interventionist values of the Libertarian Party? Remember, it was Ron Paul on the floor of Congress who said that Hamas was funded and started by Israel itself. And we found plenty of proof to back that up. Guys, you got to answer this question. What are your thoughts out there? Do you think the Libertarian Party, if they have the ability to take on RFK, despite his position on Israel-Palestine, do you think they should put him on the ticket? It would surely elevate the Libertarian Party. Something to think about it. Food for thought. YouTube still plays those crazy games where they like to unsubscribe people for whatever reason. I don't know if it's part of an algorithm or whatnot, but make sure you're subscribed and make sure you hit that bell and like, share, subscribe to the show. We're going to have this whole show clipped up. We're going to do it the same way we've been doing it on the Convo Couch for many years. We do a whole show, a live show, and then we have certain segments. We're going to repost the segments out there so you can share the shorter versions of the subjects that you like or that you want to share. And that's the most important thing you can do. A lot of us don't have any coin to spare, but we can share, right? That rhymed. We don't have any coin to spare, but we can share. So do me a favor and share, share, share.